Religion is usually described as a personal thing, something meaningful, something deeply individual. But for many of us, it's also something we inherit before we're old enough to even question it. Where we're born and who we're raised by, it all has some sort of way to impact on our lives and our beliefs from the very beginning. Within minutes of being born, our name, nationality, and even our religion are decided for us. And then we will spend the rest of our times alive desperately defending things we never even chose, unless we stop and ask why. Once I started asking why, I realized I had loads of questions my book was unable to answer. But at first, I ignored it because I genuinely thought it was the devil whispering into my ear. Because that is what I had been taught, that questioning and doubt was evil, blasphemous, and demonic even. I had been taught that questioning would lead me astray. But these questions were never coming from a little guy on my shoulder with horns and a tail. These questions were coming from somewhere already deep within me. But these were thoughts I didn't think I was supposed to have. I'm using the word think a lot, right? But thinking a lot definitely had its consequences too. Thoughts of hellfire and eternal suffering consumed me. It was always somewhere there in the back of my mind. But that was until I thought, what kind of God does that? What kind of God creates some people just for the sole purpose to suffer? Why would God test your faith to begin with? Why would God create some people who feel trapped in their own bodies and then punish them for trying to live in a way that feels right? If God was everything we worshipped him to be, then why is he so hard for some people to find? I couldn't sit with that. I couldn't sit with the idea of a merciful, peaceful, and perfect God would create such a merciless, chaotic, and broken world like ours. I couldn't sit with the idea, the fact that I pushed away every single doubt and every single question, thinking there was something deeply wrong with me. People told me that religion was personal. But when I had questions, they all had something to say, and they definitely were not answers, further making me feel like there was something deeply wrong with me. But I realized I was searching for answers in a place I would not give them. I realized that if one single question could shake my entire faith, then what was my faith exactly built on? The answer is totally fear. I had a friend, and I asked him for help and opened up to him, right? Expecting reassurance or at the very least understanding. But what I got instead was, if you're unsatisfied with the truth, then don't ask at all. And hearing that from someone I really, really respected felt really jarring and almost surreal. People had taught me that questioning was diabolic, that it was something horrible and to be feared, and just to be pushed away and labeled as a devil. But that was because they had been taught the same exact thing. But why should it be that way? Why is it that we will criticize anything? Politics, philosophy, and even other people's ways of living. But when it comes to religion, it's just crickets. I remember scrolling online the other day and coming across a post that was like just a hot take on Christianity, just a discussion basically. And then there was a comment that said, being able to question God is proof of his mercy, and I cringed, like full on grimace. Because is that really some people's idea of mercy? And it's not just one comment online, and it's not just one religion. It's a whole pattern of how religion and its reputation is more protected than the people being affected by it. And that's where I realized how deeply fear was ingrained into belief. And Pascal's wager is the idea that believing in God, even though it doesn't really align with your beliefs, is seen as the more safer option. If God does exist, then belief is rewarded. But if he doesn't, then the loss is supposedly small. And for some people, it could make sense. But that's only because of fear. I thought, what is religion without fear? Is it truly possible to love God even when punishment is mentioned in every single page and in every single book? What I had definitely was not belief. It was just fear disguised as belief. But I think questioning should be encouraged, because I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if I let myself ask those questions? What would have happened if I indulged in those questions? What opportunities could I have found? Study other beliefs. Look into your own. don't just follow blindly. Because if you look into other beliefs and still believe the same thing, then that's real conviction. It will only strengthen your initial faith. But if you look into other beliefs and question your own, and your whole idea of your own religion, but if your belief changes when you question it, then there isn't something evil within you, it's not some demon, or it's not something wrong with you. It's just your first time thinking without fear. This is not an atheism versus religion conversation. I'm not here to give you permission, because you should not need to ask to doubt. Thank you.